Have you ever looked at multi-million dollar or billion dollar businesses and wondered how did they go from the very beginning stages to the huge, massive success, well-known brand that they are today? I love dissecting those kinds of things like a Sarah Blakely, she started Spanx, or the Oprah Winfrey's of the world, or Elon Musk. Like, I want to know what were the things that they trial and error? What was their journey like? What were the really high highs and really low lows? And on today's episode of the Rainmaker Family Show, Stephen and I are going to talk to you about 6 random ways we've made money online and what it has taught us, how it has taught us to be resourceful. And so I hope that this is a chance for you to come sit alongside of us as we kind of go down memory lane as far as the funny things that we sold, some of the businesses that worked, kind of, but led us to where we are today that we're super grateful for. So this is going to be a really fun episode.
This will be a fun episode. We're going to be talking about our history and how we made money online in really random ways. And you might not know some of these things about us. And this isn't to say like go do these things, but I think when we look back, we see the deeper lessons and like entrepreneurial skill sets that were built during those seasons that we actually are still using to this day. So while I don't think we're making money on any of these ways specifically anymore, those lessons are the deeper things we want you to pay attention to for your own life, because this isn't just about like your resources, it's about your resourcefulness.
And just this weekend, we walked into church and there was somebody who was being so resourceful. And I love this story. There's someone who was like trying to raise money for like a mission trip they were going on this summer. And she literally came up to me because I wanted to buy one of the items that she was making. And she was just like, I just really felt like I was supposed to look at my hands and say like, what's in my hands? Which is so cool because that's a saying that Stephen and I often say, like, what's in your hands? What's in your hands? How can you be resourceful? And so her and her husband had collected like all of these like golf balls in like some of the rivers and streams near their house. And they were selling bundles of golf balls. And it said like recycled golf balls. And I love that because Chico has a big community of golfers. And I think there would be a lot of people who'd be willing to pay for these golf balls, knowing that their money is going towards a good cause. So that was one of the items that she was selling, which we did not buy because the golf balls are hard. And I told her, like, I'm afraid one of the boys is going to take these and someone's going to get a black eye. But regardless, I loved how she was being resourceful, and somebody is wanting to buy golf balls. Somebody needs golf balls and would love to support her. And then the second thing she was making that we did purchase was a beautiful like wreath that you put on your door. And it was just out of like dried flowers and eucalyptus, which smells so good. And she literally took those pieces from around her house and she collected them and she made all these beautiful wreaths. And it's springtime right now where we're living. And I think there are so many people that would want a beautiful wreath on their home. But beyond that, again, she's looking at like, what's in my hand? How can I be resourceful? I'm going on this trip. My heart is for these people, what I'm going to be doing, but I need the finances to go. And although this is like not a passive way to make money, it's such a resourceful way to make money. And I just love that like attitude of like, what's in my hands? What can I do now if you're ever in a pinch? And I think you and I look at that all the time on any scale, or even when our boys, like I remember a while ago, Kaizen wanted to buy a new car, and it was like, all right, buddy,
A toy car.
Yes, a toy car, you're right. And so we're like, all right, buddy. And so we helped him sell empanadas, and we had different people in the community and he sold empanadas.
And he was already making empanadas.
Yeah, he was already
like
making
every
them
week with our nanny. And so it was like, yo, that's a valuable thing. People will buy that. I'll help you post on social media.
Yeah.
And you go show up and sell them, and he's able to buy his G-Wagon.
Yeah, his toy G-Wagon. So anyway, I just love that. What's in your hands? And that's kind of started this whole conversation about like, what have we talked on the podcast about random ways that we've made money? Not to say like Stephen said, go do them all, but how can you be resourceful? And how can you take the lessons that we learned in that and apply it to your life today?
Now, if you know our story, now we help moms launch e-commerce brands online. We've grown this huge brand, but before that, we were wedding photographers. And so we'd be every Saturday going to weddings, shooting photos, uploading galleries, editing the photos, all the things. And I feel like one of the ways we started to monetize, which now we have language for this, There's something called lifetime value of your customer. Okay. And you want to increase that. You want to increase how much value you're giving your customers. And in exchange for that, they will give you more money. So if you want to increase your income, sometimes it's just about increasing the value you're offering to the marketplace, whether it's through your products or services. And so when we thought about our wedding business as a whole, it was like, how could we offer more value? And honestly, in those days, we weren't this strategic. We were just like, what are other people doing? Because we were super young. We started this business like in our early 20s, and other people were selling albums. They were selling prints. They were selling physical versions of these digital photos. And so we just started doing that. And that's one of the first things we started to sell online, so to say, was kind of after the product was delivered and people were wowed. It was like, hey, would you like an album? Would you like albums for your parents for upcoming, holidays? And how could we basically take the work we had already done and offer more value by curating this amazing album service or physical print service, and then offering that to our people? And so it's kind of a random thing we used. There was a company that would make these albums. They only worked with photographers. So we were able to get like really exclusive albums custom made for our clients. And it was just one of those ways that it was like, we could serve people and we can make more. So it's a random thing, but yeah, we were in the wedding album business off of the photography thing. And I think the bigger lesson we learned here was, like Chelsey said, what's in your hand. And a lot of times, if you've already done work on something, it's like, how could you squeeze more value out of that thing? How can you repurpose what you've already done in a different format? I remember hearing Russell Brunson speak, and we were in like Russell's $50,000 mastermind at the time, but we didn't start there. We started with his like $15 book. And he's like, hey, you know what? In this $50,000 mastermind, it's not much different than my $15 book. It's just repackaged a different way.
Yeah.
Instead of reading it in your own home with no accountability, we're going to get together in person for 3 days at a fancy location, and we're going to go deep with each other. So it's like the same concepts at a different level, repackaged. And so think about this for your own business, service, or package. How could you repackage it or repurpose it to offer more value to your potential client or customer to increase the value, which in exchange will increase the dollars in your bank account?
Yeah. And I've heard it said, like, there's two ways that you can make more money. You can get new customers that are now paying you, or you can sell to your existing customers. And I feel like when you might hear the word sell, you might be like, ooh, there's a little bit of ickiness to that. But selling is actually serving. And there's guarantee that your customer, the person that you've already served, that you've already built relationship with, that know, like, and trust factor, there's other things that they need as well. And so in the wedding world, like, I remember we spent like a good solid year searching out an album service. And every time we met with a client, they would always ask us, do you have an album service? Can we order albums from you? Regardless of if they ever bought an album for us or not, they just liked knowing that we offered it. And so they were already asking for it. So maybe there's something in your already existing business that your clients are asking for, or you could send them a simple survey on how you could serve them more. So that's another way to increase your money. You've already spent money most likely to get that customer. How can you continue that relationship and build that know, like, and trust factor?
Now, the second random thing we sold online, this is actually something we did sell online related to the wedding business. And it was kind of in that same thought. We were like, wow, albums are working. We're increasing our revenue with the same amount of work for the most part. What if we offered something else? And we thought of a photo booth because we saw at a lot of weddings. People were hiring photo booths. Photo booths are made with cameras. I was like, we have cameras. And so it's just like, we could do this thing. And we actually found a photo booth company that would make these awesome photo booths that are very portable. And we purchased it. I remember this being a very big investment for us at the time.
Super scary.
Super scary. But we're doing the math like, hey, maybe this thing rents out for $500 a weekend. And over this amount period, it pays itself off. And then, we're in the green, just making money. And we could have someone manage it. Anyways, I'm going to save you the story, but it was a cool business. It definitely made money, but it was definitely not worth it because of the stress that it added, because we were shooting weddings. We were owners. We were workers in the business. And so we're shooting weddings and taking care of the bride and taking care of the family. And then the photo booth is malfunctioning over there. Right. And if that happens and our assistant is stumped, like, now we're getting pulled into that. And it was not good. And so what we decided to do is actually sell the photo booth itself online. Now, the lesson we learned in this was actually from that book I just mentioned. Russell Brunson has this book called .com Secrets, and it talks about creating an offer. Okay, creating an offer and like stacking the value so high in an offer that you can, like, he gives this example of an iPhone. He's like, okay, if I sold you this iPhone, it would go for market rate, right? But if I said I loaded this iPhone with like every training I've ever invested in, every marketer, every private conversation I had with like the best webinar experts in the world, and I loaded on this phone, now I could sell that phone for $100,000, right? And so when you stack the value, you can sell commodities for
Mhm.
higher than they're worth. And so we were learning this. We're like, let's try this out. We wanted to sell the photo booth, but we didn't want to just like sell it like old used gear. If we went
Mhm.
on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or wherever we could sell eBay, we could probably sell it as a commodity for
Mhm.
market value. Like, what is that camera worth? What is the photo booth worth? But
Mhm.
instead, we put together an offer. We put together a website that literally stacked the value for someone locally in our area to say, hey, this website has the top ranked spot on Google for photo
Mhm.
booths when people are searching for them. Hey, this photo booth not just comes with the photo booth, it comes with all our props and all the
Mhm.
backgrounds. This doesn't just come with that, it comes with the graphics. So when you're doing the prints, like they're already ready for you. It not only comes with that, but it comes with our assistant who's willing to continue working for the new
Mhm.
owner, and he's fully trained. So you could buy this, you have an assistant up and running, right? And it starts to get more and more and more valuable. And this piece of gear that we probably could have sold for, I don't know, 3,000, maybe $5,000, we were able to sell it for $12,000 to someone because we learned to create an offer. And so that's a random thing we sold online. I think that was the biggest ticket item we had like made an offer for online at the time. I was like, wow, $12,000.
Mhm.
And it's because we learned this strategy of like, how can you stack more value
Mhm.
and make it so attractive to the person that's buying it that it's like reducing any objection or any hesitation they're having to buy that thing.
Now, while we were running our wedding business at the time, we also started an Airbnb or renting one of our rooms out in our house on Airbnb. And I know some of you are cringing at the thought of us renting out a random room to strangers. And I'm just saying, like, you get over that part. Like, people do that all the time. We traveled a lot and we traveled using Airbnb. So we felt really comfortable with it. And to
Mhm.
us, we were like just the two of us living in a 4-bedroom home, and one of those rooms being an office. So like one of them was completely
Yeah.
empty. And it was just like, there is no point in just having this extra room. Like we have this space, we might as well make money off of it. And so we jumped into Airbnb and we were kind of reluctant, like, is this actually
Mhm.
going to work? Are people actually traveling to our tiny little Northern California town? And it turns out they were. And we started to make really good
Yeah.
money off of it. But like any business, you start running it, you get really excited. And the first couple of times we call it flipping the room, where you change the sheets and clean everything. It was fun and exciting. Like, oh, like this doesn't take me that long.
It was like doing chores you get paid for. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
getting paid
yeah, I'm getting
$20,
paid,
$50.
But after a while, it just started to like wear on us. And we're like, okay, we love the extra income that Airbnb is bringing in. Most of the people like are traveling when we're at weddings, so we don't really even see the people. And we were just like, but we can't like keep up with this. This isn't fun anymore. And you start to like outgrow what you feel like you're being paid in that position. So this was one of those opportunities that made us really systemize this business so that we could scale it and make things more passive for us. So we just hired a random college student that we connected them with the calendar link, and they were the ones changing and cleaning the room for us so that we didn't have to. So it really felt like completely passive money for us, just this extra room. And then we had somebody come in and optimize it. And now we do have Airbnb properties that are completely run by other people, and it's very hands off for us. But this was one of those opportunities that
Mhm.
it really taught us to like systemize so that we could scale. And
Yeah.
that is a big lesson right there.
Yeah, and I feel like this is something we use in our business to this day is checklists. And
Hmm.
this was literally built on Trello. So Trello is just
Yeah.
like a digital, like place you can have checklists. Now a lot of people use Monday or ClickUp is kind of the new hot one on the market. But like just some sort of digital checklist. It could be like a Google sheet, and we literally were like, I think sometimes you get stuck in this like poverty DIY mindset. You're like, I have to do it myself to save the money. Oh, it's not that much time. I'll just clean
Hmm.
the room myself. But we were doing a higher value task at the time, which again, not as high value as we're doing now, but we're doing weddings and we're shooting weddings. We're getting paid money to do those. That was more than we were making on Airbnb. So it made sense to replace ourselves there. And so the fear is like, oh, they're not going to do it as good as me. And then,
Hmm.
oh, we're going to get a bad review and all this stuff. But it's like, just have a checklist. And so we
Hmm.
just had a checklist. It's like, here's the door code. Here's where you find the cleaning supplies. Here's exactly what you're going to do. And it was like literally every single room had like 10 to 15 little check boxes. And you see this, you go to public restrooms sometimes, you see the little you see the little clipboard there. And it's like they literally are like checking it off. Like, I cleaned this, right? And so we just had someone do that, and it totally took it off of our shoulders and made the whole Airbnb process more passive and more predictable and more pleasant.
Yeah, and that's important. And another great example of this is we have friends in town and they have like a back unit, like a little mother-in-law suite in their backyard that they've been renting out on Airbnb for the last several years. And it completely pays their mortgage, but they took it a step further. Their high school son is actually the one who cleans the
Wow.
Airbnb. And so he makes a cut of that, and the parents don't have to worry about like cleaning it themselves. They have outsourced to their son, and he's learning a skill set and making money doing this job. So I loved that example as well. We talk all the time about the importance of finding who's for your to-dos so you can focus on your strengths. That's where Fiverr comes in. It's an affordable solution that can help you dip your toe into buying back your time. I'll never forget the first time I discovered Fiverr and realized I could have people help me in my business for as little as $5. Whether you need graphics, design, videos, animation, even music, voiceovers, or cute drawing of your family for an upcoming gift. Discovering Fiverr was a game changer. Head over to rainmakerfamily.com/deals to create your account and get your special hookup. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
So we talked about selling albums and how you can repurpose what you're already doing to make more. We talked about the photo booth business, how to create an offer to sell something for a higher value. We talked about Airbnb and how it taught us how to systemize and create checklists to run things at scale, make them more passive. Now, this leads us to the next random thing we sold online. Now, these aren't all fully chronological, but you've probably heard that we've sold wooden toys online. And wooden toys, not just wooden toys, but specifically Japanese wooden toys. Okay. So this is called the kendama. And how this started was Chelsea's fault. She got me one of these for Christmas. I don't know. Did I tell you to get me one of these?
I think we had a friend come over to the house, and our friend had bought her husband a kendama. And you're like, oh, this is really cool. This is fun. And I was like, ding, ding, ding.
Like, I had one
gift.
in college, I think.
I think
and like
you
me
did,
and Tyler would like
yeah.
battle, me and my
And you haven't
roommate
played with one in
and
a
I would
while.
like battle each other with it. And so it kind of brought back this memory. Chelsea remembered it. She got it for me for Christmas. And we were on this like family vacation for Christmas. And I just like played with that thing the entire time. This was before we had kids. And it's like this little yo-yo ball and cup thing. You're trying to catch the ball on the cups and try to spike it and all these things. And I was like trying to learn these new tricks. And it was just like addicting. I was just like really into it. And so, as most entrepreneurs do, you turn your passions into a business. And so I was really into this thing. And we had this dream at the time. We were doing not just weddings at that time, we were actually doing commercial videography as well. And we were shooting commercials for physical products. And I had all these ideas on like how to make physical products, but I didn't know how to actually get them made. And so the kendama felt like, wow, this feels like a really good opportunity to try this thing out and it'd be okay with failing in a niche that's very forgiving. And so I think that was the key thing that we did in that season. We launched this kendama business, and you got to think like the kendama world, people that are into this toy, it's a very small world. And so there's not a lot of new brands and excitement happening in that world. So when a new brand comes on the scene, people are just like fanatical about it just because it's new. Like if you launch a new car, right? Like there's just a lot of cars out there. And so it's not as exciting, but like kendamas, it was just like such a small niche. And so that was our intro to e-commerce, and really what led us to Amazon, led us to Rainmakers, was this wooden toy and launching products in that space. And so that's where we learned manufacturing and packaging and all those things. And the big lesson I think we look back on was something that we heard from our mentor later on, but it was kind of like, oh, that's what we did. And he says, carve a niche so tight that you're the only one that fits in it. Carve a niche so tight that you're the only one that fits in it. And if you think about this, like in business, there are so many people in the world, and you could serve moms, right? But that's a pretty broad niche, right? Like that's still like a lot of people. And so if you niche it down to like so tight that you're the only one that fits in it, then you automatically kind of become the best in the world because no one else is specifically serving that person. And so even in the kendama, tiny world of kendama, the kendama that we made was really good at a very specific trick. There's all these tricks, and this one trick called the lunar, our brand was the best at. And so the brand was called Lunatic. It was like based on the lunar, and the logo was like so I'm getting kind of nerdy on you. I'm telling you
You're gonna make me
how
dumb a lesson right
niche
now.
this thing was.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's like, and when people saw it, it was like that hook of like, this is new and this is the best at this one trick I've been trying to learn. I'm for sure going to buy this thing. Right.
Mhm.
So we say that to say like, this is where we learn that like when you create a niche so tight, you're the only one that fits in it. When people said, oh, I want to get better at lunars, they would think, oh, there's this one brand. Have you tried this brand? That's like,
Mhm.
that's what they specialize in. And so in your business, if you're going too broad and I would say this, the one caveat is if you're a local business. If you're a local business and you're in a small town like us, you do have to go a little bit broad because there's only so many people in your town. But if you're running an online business, like you can niche down so far
Mhm.
that like there are still hundreds of thousands of people in the world that fit within that niche.
Mhm.
And if you see us doing what we're doing in Rainmakers, we might be breaking that rule a little bit now, but you always start really small. And when we started with Rainmakers, we niched down to moms who had kids of a certain age, and those kids were in a very specific homeschool program. And so we did that at the very, very beginning, and that got us kind of in. And then as you grow, you kind of like tap that audience slowly and you grow out, out, out. And there's like stay-at-home moms, and now it's like working moms, and now it's like motivated moms. And so it like gets bigger and bigger over time. But I think you see people that are crushing in a business like the Tony Robbins or the Oprahs of the world who are serving everyone. And then a lot of beginner entrepreneurs, they're like, oh, this is for everyone. Anyone could buy this thing. And that's a huge mistake. And so you got to start really small. It gives you just tons of favor and clarity for the people that really want that product. It helps them go yes and make that yes, even though you're totally unknown. And then as you serve that person, as you expand, then your niche gets bigger and bigger over time.
All right, so we're on number 5, and this one we actually started doing really early on in our wedding business, and we still do it even to this day, and that is affiliate marketing. And for us in our wedding business, we would always be getting asked, like, what kind of camera do you use? And that would come from anywhere from other photography peers that we had to parents, grandparents at a wedding. And so how cool is it that you can create like an Amazon storefront or refer other products to people, and you send them your link or your code, and then you make a commission off of that product just by like recommending it. So I just want to encourage you, even if you don't have a huge social media presence or want to be on social media, like just, I think anyone could be a part of this. You could create an Amazon storefront, send it to friends and family, or if you own a local business, there's so many different ways that you can do affiliate marketing. And I think over time, you can see how there can be additional revenue driven just from this alone.
Yeah. And I think this is such a great way. And again, this is why we still do it to this day, because you're selling someone else's product. You're recommending someone else's product. And when a sale comes in through you, you get a cut of that sale. And it's a great way to get started. And honestly, for us, what it taught us was everything. Like all the stuff about marketing, we learned with affiliate marketing. We were actually in a coaching program at the time, and that coaching program had an affiliate program. And so before we ran ads for our own business, we actually ran ads for that affiliate program. And that's where we learned Facebook ads. Before we did email marketing for our own business, we did email marketing for that affiliate program. It taught us these marketing lessons. And so I love affiliate marketing because it is a very low barrier entry. It just takes your time, but it's a great way you can experiment and learn what's working. So when you have your own product, your own service, you want to add something on, like you have those skill sets already. And I don't know if you've seen on Instagram, like people are crushing it with affiliate marketing right now, like using ManyChat and these things that like we use in our main business. I see affiliate marketers doing this where it's like, here's this awesome olive tree from Amazon. Drop the word tree in the chat and I'll send it to you. That's affiliate marketing. And they're dropping the word tree. They're getting an automated message from ManyChat, and that's their affiliate link. If you buy that tree, they're going to get a cut of that sale from Amazon. You'd be surprised, like so many products and brands on the internet have affiliate programs. We have an affiliate program. If you love Rainmakers, you love this podcast, you can sign up for our affiliate program. It's rainmakers.leaddino.com. Lead Dino is the affiliate program we use, LEADDYNO. So if you want to do affiliate marketing, you want to try this thing, we even have a whole affiliate marketing course. When you sign up as an affiliate for Rainmakers, we give you a whole affiliate marketing course that'll teach you the basics of organic affiliate marketing. And it's a great skill set to build that's going to not just help you make money now, but help you make money with your business in the future.
Yeah, I just want to pause there because I just want to talk about affiliate marketing and when it comes to Rainmakers, because if you're listening to the show, you are probably someone who is similar to us, or you like this type of messaging and maybe you share it with a friend, maybe you join our year-long mastermind, or maybe you're just on the outskirts, like gleaning from the amazing guests that we have on the show. But I just want to say in the show notes will be an affiliate link. If you want to promote Rainmakers at all, we would love that. And even if you have no desire to start your own Amazon business and follow the Rainmaker method, you can still become an affiliate even if you don't join our year-long program yourself. So I love that you can make money just by referring like this podcast, or maybe you know a friend or a mama who's been like looking for a way to create extra revenue with a business that she owns and loves and that physical product, or maybe you're a social media strategist and you have wanted to teach like your own customers how to create a physical product for their audience. Refer them to Rainmakers. We would love that. So it's all in the show notes.
Okay, the sixth way we've made money online, and this one is kind of the most interesting, I feel like, and it actually led me to remember a seventh way. So since you stuck around to the end, I want to tell you the craziest seventh way, and you're gonna wish when you heard this that you knew me back then. Okay, so let's talk about the sixth way first. And this is something we called swipe up secrets. Swipe up secrets. If we have any swipe up secrets customers listening to the show, thank you for sticking around and being here for so long. Because we did this before Rainmakers. It was like in that spaghetti season of trying a million side hustles. And at the time, Instagram, like right now, when you post on Instagram, you can like post a story and you can link to your website. But back then on Instagram, you had to have 10,000 followers to link from your story.
Coveted 10,000 followers. Oh my gosh.
So you had to have 10,000 followers to swipe up on it was called swipe up. People be like, swipe up, and you'd swipe up and then it would link you to an external website. So as a marketer, business owner, it was like you wanted that swipe up feature so bad because it was like, otherwise it's so hard to drive traffic from Instagram. And so we had this thing called Swipe Up Secrets, which was a course, but also a service on how to get 10,000 followers fast. Now, here's what most people don't know. Okay. So what most people don't know is back in the day with Instagram, people were just doing crazy stuff. Like right now, I mean, I think we're always kind of innovating and we're currently still doing crazy strategies on Instagram. But back then, people were doing a lot of follow, unfollow. And I don't recommend this strategy at all anymore. But back then it did work fairly well. And what you would do is you would go follow a bunch of people that were like potential customers. And like after a season, like, because when you followed them, they'd be like, who's this? They'd check out your profile. And like, if they liked it, they might follow. And after a while, you would unfollow people that didn't follow you because it was just like, you don't want your follower count or like the people you're following to go out to like 300,000. Right. And so this was working so well that people created software that actually did it for you. And so it was like, it would log into your account and it would go follow people. You could set the parameters. Let's say you're like a dog trainer, and it would go follow all these like, dog interest people. And then after some time, it would go unfollow them. And again, this was kind of I would say it was kind of a gray hat way of growing on Instagram because it was using automation and some of these things. And again, nowadays, this does not work at all, but this is early days of Instagram. And so there was this software that we were using this for just on our own account, just like, hey, this is working. It's kind of cool. And actually Instagram, this software had Insta in the name of it. And Instagram went after this software and shut them down because it was like, you can't use this name. And so they shut down the software and it kind of like went dark and no one could access it. So I tried to log in one day and it was just gone. But then they emailed us kind of secretly and they were like, hey, we're reaching out to some of our power users because I think I was doing this on my account and like a handful of friends' accounts and your account, like our business account. And they're like, hey, for our power users, we're just going to open up the software kind of behind the scenes. Like we're not going to be publicly available, but you can log in and you can use it. And so I saw an opportunity there where I was like, now I have access to this kind of rare thing and no one else can get access to this. I didn't know how many people they'd reached out to. And so what we did is we created a service around that. And we actually found two other kind of Instagram growth strategies that other people were running. And we bundled all three of those together into a package. And it was $97 a month. And you got my service, which was like kind of the follow, unfollow thing. And you got these two other services that also helped you grow. And we ran this thing. We enrolled people. And we got it up to about like, I think it was $4,000 a month. And then one day Instagram snaps their fingers, changes their API access. So no longer can softwares connect to Instagram, and the whole thing came crashing down basically. So that's the story with Stripe of Secrets. But I think the thing that I learned in that season, one, it's resourcefulness of like, wow, we had this asset, like this potential opportunity. And like I saw the opportunity there. But two, you don't have to do all the work yourself. And so this is something that we learned really early on, is that this is called white labeling. You can white label someone else's services. This means like you are using like agencies, like contractors, they do this all the time, right? You hire a contractor, they're not the person building the cabinets all the time, right? They're white labeling. They're saying you're hiring me and I'm hiring these subcontractors. Same kind of thing in business. White labeling is the same kind of thing. So people bought our service and then they were getting all these other things, but I was just getting paid to manage the people to provide the services. And so that thing we still use to this day, where in our business, sometimes we provide services for our clients as a bundle of our offer, but we're not fulfilling on all those things. We might have a subcontractor who's fulfilling on that service instead of us doing all the work. And so that lesson stuck true, but the Instagram thing died pretty quickly.
All right. So now we're all itching. What is the seventh way that we made money that you remembered that everyone wants to know about?
Okay. So back in the day, I know I'm saying back in the day a lot.
What it is. So
I created my first ever course. Okay. Do you remember my first ever course was?
Don't.
I sat down, I did it in one weekend at our table at that one house with the stick wall background. Okay?
I do not remember.
It was how to buy cryptocurrency.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember this? This was in 2017.
I remember.
And it was how to buy Bitcoin in 2017.
Did you ever sell it?
No, so I didn't sell it. So why I made this course was because
right.
Coinbase at the time, which is a really huge platform now, was doing an affiliate thing. And so when you got someone to sign up for Coinbase through your link, you would get $10 of Bitcoin. And at the time in 2017, like that would be worth so much money now because it was very early days of crypto. And so I was buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff ourselves back then. But I also like created this course on basically like how to like walk anyone, like my mom, my grandma, like you could watch this course and it was step by step, 4 videos, how to buy Bitcoin in 2017.
And why didn't you end up selling it? Because now I'm like, dang it, I could have made all
Well,
this money.
I didn't sell it because I just wanted the free Bitcoin. Like I was just like, I knew the value of Bitcoin. And so I would just give it out to people for free. Like, hey, here, you're interested in cryptocurrency? Here's a course. I give them to them for free. They would go through my link in the course and I would get $10 free Bitcoin. I mean, I'm sure we're still making money off that Bitcoin to this day.
True.
Like, isn't that crazy?
That's so funny.
But like 2017, you guys, that was early days of crypto. I wish you knew me back then. You could be loaded.
You could be loaded. Don't you love these funny stories? Steven is, I mean, there's more that you did in like high school and college and random things. Steven is like a true entrepreneur at his core. And I would say like I have learned to be an entrepreneur getting around you. So yeah, I love all those funny stories. So thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. I hope this was like a little bit of walk down memory lane, maybe some good laughs in there of the different ways that we made money in the early days. But more importantly, I hope you gravitated and grabbed hold of those lessons that are still being applied to this very day. And I just want to encourage you, if you ever listen to the Rainmaker Family Show and there's a podcast episode that really stands out to you, would you share it if you are on social media or through a text message with a friend, and then go back and tag us if you are doing it on social media? We would love to see what podcasts are resonating with you, get our message more out into the world. So we just want to say thanks in advance for doing that with us. And we'll see you next week on another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmaker is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.